When I say the word Outcast, you probably think the same thing that I think. The ATL hip-hop group that was prominent in the 90s and the early 2000s. Listen to their first stuff before the Miss Jackson stuff, though. That's the much better stuff. But when it comes to a video game called Outcast, you probably don't think of much. And I'm someone who considers myself to be a pretty good authority when it comes to like 90s and early 2000s video games. I always had my nose stuck in a magazine, learning about these games from GamePro, EGM, Nintendo Power, Next Generation magazine, but that was just console and handheld stuff. PC gaming, I didn't really know anything about. And in 1999, a company called Appeal Studios put out a game called Outcast that was considered to be like the first open world 3D sci-fi game to ever be released. Before Shenmue, before Grand Theft Auto 3, this was an open world where you could do whatever, go talk to whoever, and the mission structure wasn't completely linear like we had been seeing in games up until that time. This was a very successful game, but that was kind of it. It was a one and done thing. Well, the folks over at Appeal Studios got the band back together and said, hey, to make a sequel for modern stuff, and people got excited. I guess, I don't know, because I'm not in the PC community. But this was a console game being published by THQ Nordic for the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X and S, and it is also available on Steam. Now, full disclosure, THQ Nordic did reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to do a sponsored look at this video so I could let you guys know what this game is about. Because I figure there's a lot of you watching this video who have no clue about this game. There's a demo available on all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam. Should you check out that demo? I'll have links to it in the description box down below, but let's talk about this game. Outcast: The New Beginning, the sequel to the game from 1999 that I had never heard of until THQ Nordic reached out to me. So, what is Outcast: The New Beginning story? I like to talk about story stuff first, and man, there's some deep stuff going on here. You thought like imagine like a Star Trek, right? And you have like these Trekkies who have like, you know, they know about like Klingon and stuff like that and the names of the different races and stuff. Like this world is crafted in like a very, very similar way. You play as a character named Cutter Slade, who was the character of the first Outcast game. And Cutter Slade, ex-Navy guy, things didn't go all that great for him in Outcast 1. You don't really need to know the story too much. They give you some sort of backstory with the game. But really, I feel like Outcast: The New Beginning just kind of stands on its own in terms of story because, like I said, I didn't really know about the first game's storyline or whatever. But basically, this character, Cutter Slade, is resurrected. He goes back to this world that he helped save the first time in the first game, but like now people are stripping it of natural resources. There's evil humans, there's droids, there's creatures in the world that are trying to, you know, take over and kill different things. Now like all these people are being hurt. There's all this terminology that they use. It's like a whole freaking language. There's like this big egg that turns into like this flying caterpillar thing, and it's like, what the heck is going on? And like this story is crazy. Like it just keeps throwing stuff at you, and it's like, wow, there is a lot to learn about in this game. Now, the character Cutter Slade himself definitely has that sort of 90s vibe to him with kind of like little wisecracks and one-liners and stuff like that. But as you progress through the game, he kind of softens up a bit. He becomes a bit more human. He learns something about his family from a very early stage of the game, and then he's kind of interested in that. But like a lot of the characters have their own things going on within this world, and it makes things pretty interesting. There's a bunch of different regions that you end up visiting, and all these characters in these different regions have like different dialects and different ways that they talk and stuff like that. So it's actually pretty cool and, you know, somewhat realistic when you really think about it. Of course, we have to talk about the gameplay of this game, because I know what you're thinking. What kind of game is this? Even though you've been looking at gameplay footage as I've been talking. But Outcast: The New Beginning definitely takes a lot from the predecessor game in that it is a sci-fi open world adventure. When you first start out as Cutter, you basically have like one little stinky gun, and you have a melee attack and a shield, and you're just kind of running around everywhere trying to figure out what is going on. But as you progress throughout the game, you unlock different stuff. You get new abilities. There's skill trees for both traversal and combat. There's also additional things that you can add to your weapons that you acquire by playing the game as well, doing certain missions and stuff like that. And very quickly into the game, you get so many crazy traversal things, and it's like so cool. The traversal kind of feels a bit like Just Cause with like a bit of Rocketeer in it. Like I wish we would have gotten like a proper Rocketeer game. That's a deep cut. If you're not a 90s kid, you have no no idea what I'm talking about with that. But like you get this jetpack and you could like fly around, you could double jump with it, and then you could attach like a glider to it and go like gliding through the areas and stuff like that. Then you get attachments for the glider and stuff like that. Like it's very, very cool. The traversal is one of my favorite things about this game because it just feels very like fluid and stuff like that. Now, of course, you can unlock different portals to get across the world quicker. There's fast travel in the game as well. But basically, when you're trying to do missions and stuff, you're going to an area on your mini map, and that's the kind of traversal you're doing. It feels very nicely done. Like, yeah, there's occasional hiccups, like when you hit like a certain piece of terrain, but like for the most part, it is very, very satisfying. The combat in the game is pretty interesting as well, because like I alluded to, you have both melee combat and you have gunplay combat. With the melee combat, you could basically upgrade that. You know, you can upgrade your shield, you can upgrade your melee attacks, you can add in more melee attacks as you get types of in-game currency, that there's a bunch of that sort of stuff. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but basically that's how you upgrade your character's physical abilities, and then you get these additional attachments for your weapons. You unlock additional weapons by doing side missions and sometimes story missions in the game, and you can add all these different attachments that are pretty cool. Like I got like a sticky thing on my gun, right on my main pistol right now. That's also a machine gun pistol that also, when enemies explode by the stickies, I regenerate health. Like there's a lot of mixing and matching that you can do, and you get up to 4 slots to add different add-ons to your guns that you have to unlock the slots by playing the game and getting some of that in-game currency. There's a lot of different currencies going on here that allow you to upgrade different things. So if you want to focus on upgrading a certain thing, it's definitely wise to focus on the certain types of currency. You could find basically like ammunition that's like on these little rock things that you break, and you get the different colors of ammunition for your different weapons. It sounds like a lot, but it's really not. Like once you get the hang of everything, and once you add an ability onto what you already have and what you already know about, like it's fine. Like it's pretty intuitive for the most part. Of course, with the combat, you're fighting all sorts of different things within this game. You're fighting like creatures, you're fighting droids, you're fighting like weird monster things that are in the level, you're fighting like weird hybrid things, sometimes there's like human stuff going on. So it's very interesting how everything just sort of plays out, and like the AI of the characters, because I think the AI of the characters is actually pretty well done. Like they won't just like stand around, they'll like hunt you down as far as the droids are concerned, or like the weird creatures that you come across. And I think the gunplay is actually very satisfying, and you know, I like how responsive everything is. I like how the guns feel different, but when you actually change things up with the guns, like it definitely feels different, and it definitely impacts how you play the game. There's a whole bunch of different areas to visit in this game as well. I really feel like I've just scratched the surface with my time with this game thus far, and they all have their own sort of distinct feel to them. Like I said earlier, all the characters in different regions have like different dialects. There's even like some kind of like southern drunk alien creatures on there, and it's kind of like, that's cool. You know, that's probably how it would be. And, you know, it all sort of plays into the story. Everyone's kind of trying to work together. You've kind of got to mend fences with other regions and stuff like that. But even like some of the side quests and stuff, like they feel pretty thought out. Like it feels like there's a bit more to it. As far as accessing the quests is concerned, you basically bring up this menu and it tells you what to do to sort of activate a quest. But there's so many quests, and some of them are like time like locked. So in order to get to that next quest in a certain region, you got to go do other quests in another region. There's side quests, there's bases to take over, there's bosses to fight. It gets a very complete game. Graphics and performance wise, I think it's pretty solid. You know, there are 2 modes. There is a performance mode and a graphics mode. All of the gameplay that I'm showing you is on performance mode because I prefer performance over graphics. Graphics mode is fine, but just performance mode was more into like, is more my style of how I like to play these games. And there's some really breathtaking scenes in the game because you can like get up so high on like some of these plateaus and stuff and just kind of look down. There's a lot of nice detail in it. Enemy variety in the game is pretty decent, I feel. You know, you have different types of creatures out in the land of battle. You, of course, have the droids in the game, and you have the occasional boss battle or some sort of boss-related fight as well. It's pretty cool stuff. Some of the boss battles are really cool. I would have liked to seen maybe a little bit more enemy variety, but that could just be a personal preference with the game. And like the story can be pretty crazy, you know. Like I've been playing the game and like following along with the story, and I still feel like there are things that like I'm not 100% sure on, but I just kind of roll with it, man, because this is almost like a throwback style of game for me. This feels like something that would have came out on like the Xbox 360, and I mean that in a good way. It obviously has the more polish of a modern game, but it definitely feels like a sort of creative, game that they would have tried like during the Xbox 360 era that you don't really see too much of in the modern era. And I think that's why I'm kind of enjoying this game so much, because it just feels like different than all of these, newer games that are coming out. Is it a perfect game? No. I mean, it's kind of rough around the edges at times. There are some times where you might get a little bit of a frame rate dip or something like that, or you might get confused on a mission. And sometimes the story can be a little bit overbearing. So, it's not going to be in the game of the year contender or anything like that. But I feel like the traversal in the game and the gunplay is just very satisfying. And as weird as the story is, I am interested to continually see kind of where it goes and what happens next, because I feel like there's going to be some really weird stuff like towards the end of this game, especially some of the things that they've set up. But I think Outcast: The New Beginning it's a unique game. Like, for sure, it is very different than a lot of games that are out on the market right now. And, hats off to THQ Nordic, because I'll be completely honest with you guys. If they didn't reach out to me to ask me about this game and if I wanted to check it out, I probably would have completely missed it. And I feel like there are a lot of people that would have missed it as well. Like I said at the start of this video, there is a demo available on the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series, and on Steam. So I highly suggest you guys check it out to get sort of a feel for a game and see if it's right for you. There will be links in the description box down below. But yeah, let me know if you're like a fan of the original Outcast game from 1999, if you plan on checking out this one. And yeah, big thank you to THQ Nordic for sponsoring today's video. Give me all your feedback in the comment section down below. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.